Okay, this person's asking me, how should I best set up my kids' financial future? Okay, so you don't have to have like a lot of money to write a will, but if you don't have a will, please at least write one. Having a will help your loved ones take care of you after you pass away. So if anything, I would write a will first. It doesn't have to be fancy, just type it up and let someone else know that you have a will. Okay. If you have, like, let's say about $750,000 in net worth, or let's say you have $1 million in net worth, I would advise, and this is not financial advice from me, but I would encourage you to talk to a estate attorney and possibly set up a living trust. Okay. And I'm not here to sell any products, but having a living trust, you can avoid probate. And having a trust will avoid your assets and information becoming public in a court that process probate. Personally, I would rather not have my information in public, letting everybody know what I had, or what I want to do with my stuff. If something were to happen to me, I want that to be private. So it does cost money to set up a living trust, but if your net worth is going up there, I would highly advise you to talk to an estate attorney to possibly set up a living trust to kind of protect your privacy, right? There are videos about when they passed away. I think Robin Williams, when he passed away, he had a trust, so his stuff was really protected. And then another celebrity who passed away only had a will, and he had, like, his information was public, right? So that's something to possibly look into. The other thing you should do is really update your beneficiary. A lot of people forget about doing this. You have so many bank accounts. So you have your bank checking and bank savings. Log into your banks and just update beneficiary. Okay, so all of your bank accounts. If you're married, if you don't have a beneficiary set up, it should automatically go to your spouse. And if you're, like, the other thing is, if you're in the process of a divorce, then you should probably start going in there and start updating your beneficiary. If you're going to be divorced soon, then that's something that you don't want to have your soon-to-be ex-spouse to any of your retirement, right? Roth IRA, and log into your 401k. You can update your beneficiary there too. HSA, same way. What are the other accounts? Your taxable brokerage account, just depending on how your brokerage account is structured. If it's already kind of like a joint account with your spouse and you have a 50-50, just take a look at your documentation on how that's going to happen. Like, if you pass away, does your living spouse going to take over your entire? But when you look at your taxable brokerage account, just see how your money and that account is structured. Okay. And what are the other accounts? If you have like any minors, maybe update your beneficiary to make sure that that's the other thing is, your life insurance policy going to your minor might become a problem because they're not of age yet. So maybe setting up a trust might be the best way to go. So like having the life insurance policy going into the living trust, and then have the trust take care of the kids if they're under the age of 18, so that you can have like a detailed instruction in the trust. Let me give you an example. Like, if you don't want your kids to touch any of the money until they go through a financial literacy course, they don't get to touch the money unless they pass a drug test or something like that. That can all be in the trust, and with the directions, under your directions, after years of so you passed away years ago, you can still do that. But the other really important thing is maybe financial education, right? So while you're still alive and you have kids living in a house, I would say wait until the kids are like 7 or 8. I would say 8 years old. Then you can kind of start talking about the basics of money. This is how you spend money. This is how you save money. If you earn $100, then save half and spend half, that type of thing.
By the way, I am so fired up to announce the launch of my private FIRE community for people just like you and me who are passionate about investing, saving, and achieving financial independence, and exploring different possibilities to retire early. My private community will allow you to connect with me on the platform and get in touch with other like-minded individuals or couples who are just as serious as you are with the FIRE movement. As a member of my private community, You'll get resources like investing, saving, paying off debt, or finding the right place to grow your money.
And don't be afraid to just kind of take your kids to walk them through the registers. I did that with my 12-year-old when she was like 7 years old. And I was like, hey, girl, here's a debit card. Or I just gave her cash when she was 7. We went to Target and she went to the checkout line to buy this little toy that was like $10. And I was like, all right, how much is it? And she's like, all right, it's $9.99, Dad. I was like, good. Now go to the register and I want you to pay for that. And then when they ring it up, it turned out to be $10.81. She's like, but it said $9.99. Why am I paying more? I had to explain all the sales tax and all that. And she's, at that point, she was like, man, I hate taxes already. I was like, that's my girl. She's already realizing that there's sales tax and all that gets added. And she really learned about inflation over the last couple of years because, that was all, that was always on the news, like inflation this, inflation that. So explain that to her. You don't have to be like a professional accountant, or you don't have to be a millionaire to teach your kids, that concept of money. I don't think you have to explain to your kids if you're like struggling, right? That's not something that you don't want to tell your kids to make them feel scared or anything like that. But just make them aware of the concept of money could help them, right? Something that you can set them up for success is that just talking to them and say, this is money, this is savings, and this is investing. And I know the question you asked was, how do I set up my kids for success? And the other one you can probably think about is, what investment account you could have for your kids, like a 529 college savings plan. And you have, if your kids are like in their teenage years, you can do custodial Roth IRA. And what you can do is, like, let's say if my daughter starts working at McDonald's, right? And she earns, I don't know, $10,000 from working 3 months of summer. And I can say, hey, girl, listen, you've done a great job, working at McDonald's or whatever, the fast food restaurant, you earn 10,000. If you put half, or say you put 4,000 in your 3,000 in your Roth, I'm going to put the other half into your Roth IRA. That's something that can encourage your kids to start, saving for retirement. That's not a good way to do it. Now, this is kind of a random thought, but the Secure Act 2.0 really kind of made 529 really awesome, because the 529 now allows you to roll that over to a Roth IRA, your kid's Roth IRA, or the beneficiaries Roth IRA. So let's say your kid turns 21, 22, finishes college. So you have 35K. That is the lifetime limit for 529 to Roth IRA rollover. Okay, so that is the maximum that you have. But you also have to have at least 15 years for your account to be open, your 529 account to be open. And so let's say your kid turns 24 and you want to transfer that. So that 35,000 can move from 529 to the kid's Roth IRA, not custodial Roth IRA. Okay. And what you cannot move out of that 35,000 is anything that you contributed over the last 5 years. That would be the exception. Okay. So keep that in mind. But you can move 35,000 up to 35,000 from the 529 to your kid's Roth IRA. And that in that same year you make the Roth IRA rollover, your kid cannot contribute to the Roth IRA in that year. Have to wait until the next year, the following year, to make the Roth IRA contribution. So keep that in mind. But this is a really good way. Like, if you don't know if your kid's gonna go to college, this is a great way to just say, you know what, I'm still gonna put it in the 529. And if my kid doesn't go to college, I can still move that over to my kid's Roth IRA in the future. So when Secure Act 2.0 got passed, that was one of the great benefits that came out. It's already in effect as of January 2024. So take a look at the 529 to Roth IRA rule. It can be very, very beneficial for your kid's future. Appreciate the question. I know that was a lot of things, but I'd love to talk to you about it. You can go to firesession.com/consultation and schedule your next session.